Welcome to the Absolute Mom Sense Podcast. Welcome back to the Absolute Mom Sense Podcast. If you are new here, my name is Olivia.
I'm Tia. Just.
We're just a bunch of moms. We just sit down and we hang out and we chat and we have a good time. So I'm glad you're here. Today I have somebody really, really close and special to me. She is my aunt. Her name is Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
She has a unique story with having big age gaps with having her kids, and she has raised kids on a farm plus raised kids in a city. So that's going to be really fun to talk about. And then also she is a cancer survivor. So this is going to be super fun, super entertaining, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's get into it. So I wanted to have you on because I have a lot of aunts.
That you do.
I have a lot of family members, and I really look up to you. And I look up to all my aunts, for sure. But Mary is just, you're so happy and positive all the time and like a bright light. And so I'm like, and she has an amazing story besides that too. So we'll get into her story for sure. But besides that, I just love your personality, your vibe and everything. And so I'm excited for this episode. This is going to be fun.
Thank you.
This is going to be fun. This is new, right?
This is new. I'm a little intimidated. Good.
Okay. So this is going to be great. So one of the first things that I thought was really cool about you, first of all, how many kids do you have?
I have 11.
11 kids. Now, the fun thing is I remember being a kid and I remember asking you how many kids you're going to have. And you always told me.
I said 11.
You did?
I did.
I thought you said 9.
I did later, but at first I knew I was having 11.
Really?
Yep. Every 2
Okay,
years.
so then this
boom,
is a
boom,
new
boom.
turn on things because I always thought it was 9. And I don't remember which one, like how many you had at the time that I would ask.
That's an interesting story there.
Because it seems like you maybe only had 6 or 7 and I would be like, well, how many are you going to have? And you'd say 9. I could have sworn.
Yeah, there was a point where I did
Maybe you did
decide,
say 11.
okay, I think it's just 9 because I slowed down.
Oh,
and I thought, okay, 11's gone. That's not going to happen anymore. So I think I'll have 9. And I was good with that. You know, I mean, I always wanted a big family. I thought 11 would be a nice number, but
a fun thing. Yeah. So you had 9, and then what happened?
Let me tell you about the birds.
Oh, no.
Just teasing. I'm joking.
Go.
Okay, so on my 9th, then it just wasn't happening after I had my 9th, and I had started into college. I was a late college. I was one of those non-traditional students, you know, into college, and the stress level was just too much, and I just couldn't.
Okay.
A memory from when I was younger came right back to me when I was thinking, is this going to happen? Am I going to have any more? Then I remembered back to when I was a younger person, and one of my neighbors and she was my friend, and she told me, I'm only going to have 6 kids. I'm going to have all girls. And everybody wants all these girls. And so just to be different, I just said, I'm going to have 9, 5 boys, 4 girls. And that's exactly what I had. I said that. And that's exactly what I had. So I thought, and that memory just came right back to me. And so I took that as a sign there we go.
You
Done.
had 9 and 5.
I'm going to have 9 and
5
I'm
boys
happy
and 4
with
girls.
it. Yeah, 5 boys, 4 girls. And then, lo and behold, 5 years later.
Okay, so there's 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years between him and Briley. Yeah.
Okay, so 5. So he turned 5, and then you had.
Yep. Then I had Briley.
Okay, and see, I thought this would be fun for you.
I'm in the same boat.
Really?
Yeah.
How many?
Coley, I have 10 and my baby is 5 now.
Wow.
So I'm like, am I done or do we get back into it like Mary did? I need to know how this went for you.
Yeah. So now I'm like, okay, so what was it like after you had, because you say that you got to the point to where you were like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. And your mind is, I'm ready for the next phase in life. I did have grandkids already. So I thought,
Oh, wow.
I'm okay to just be grandma now, and you get rid of all your stuff and you're back in, I start my career and just knew that, life was just going to be this way. And then I don't know. I had been training for the marathon. I decided, you know what, I'm going to run a marathon, full marathon. And so I was doing the training and just, it kicked my body into gear, I'm assuming, because my diet wasn't that great. It wasn't that. But yeah, just I started the training, and then on my 16th mile on the treadmill, my knee gave out. My knee just kind of popped and really a lot of pain. And so I stopped the training, and I knew if I do any more of it, then I'm not going to be able to
do anything.
I'm not going to have a good knee at all.
Yeah.
So I just, it's okay. I'm not going to, there goes that,
Yeah.
And then a month later, found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
So your body knew.
Yeah.
No, we need to get her back in bed.
Yeah. And I mean, it came as a total surprise. The only reason why I even thought to test was because I started feeling this all familiar feeling of, that is not a regular sickness here. This is like the 9-month flu kind of sickness. And so I tested, but what was weird is prior to that, about a couple weeks before I did test too, I just had a dream that I was holding a little baby and I could hear the baby cry. Oh. And that baby hunger that comes about, and I hadn't had that for, a long time. So the two together, I just thought, oh my word, you got to be kidding me. So there we go.
So Tia, we can train for a marathon then, huh?
That's when I'm like, oh man, is exercise my key? Because I'm not doing that. I need to start running.
It's not happening.
I keep wondering though. That really does keep coming to me. I wonder if the exercise would.
Yeah,
Jump
that's
start.
what I've researched since then, and I have heard that it just, for one thing, it helps to lower your cortisol, which is your stress. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of why it took me that 5 years. I was in college, and I had to quit because it was just too much. Yeah. And I just didn't handle it well because I wanted an A. If I'm going to go, I'm going to do well. And it was hard work having kids and going to school. So I just quit for a while, and then,
Wow. And then there you go.
Yep.
So was it like a shock?
Oh yeah.
So
except for those two little snippets that kind of gave me a little heads up. I remember my husband was out of town, and I texted him. My daughter Katie was had been 4 years trying to have a baby. And I sent him a picture of the pregnancy test.
You think it was Katie's?
He did. He's like, wow, that is neat. Is that Katie's? And I said, nope, mine. And I instantly got a phone call. It's like, no more texting. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
That was pretty entertaining. That was the best part. It's like, I'm not waiting until you're back in town. This is happening now.
Okay, I got to tell somebody.
Yeah. It was a life changer though. That's for sure. And I actually started instantly thinking, wait a minute, how is this going to affect? Because all the years before, I stayed home. I was a stay-at-home mom. And now I'm working and full-time and, well into my career and stuff. And anyway, it just kind of threw me for a loop in that way. But more than anything, I was pretty excited to have a baby again.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when we found out she was a girl. And it was like, oh, there we go.
This will be fun. I know.
10, 5 and 5. No more 5 and 4.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
it was
I was
interesting.
pregnant with my first the same time as you were.
Yeah.
With your
That's quite fun
your new one.
to be pregnant
I
along with
remember.
your nieces that are all so cute and tiny in here. I am.
Oh, please.
How it is.
I should insert a picture right here of what I looked like.
Did we ever get a picture with us together?
We should have. I don't know why we didn't.
If we did. I mean, I tried staying out of
I know I
pictures
did
of all the time, but it's like,
Well,
you don't
no,
put
'cause
that in a picture.
I just think it's funny because you're like, oh, well, all these tiny cute ones, and I'm like, yeah, I am gonna insert a picture. I was not tiny and cute.
Whatever.
No, it'll be fun. It'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, after having such a long break, was the pregnancy easier than your previous ones, or being older and having a break? It was
challenging. It was challenging more because I think it's a mindset though. I think if and you're trying and you just kind of kick back into gear, and I did somewhat, but it really was, it kind of took a toll. I was tired, and I mean, not that you aren't anyway, but it was just a little different.
Because you've been so out of it, like you've been feeling good and back to yourself, kind of. And
then since then, when I talk to other people that have had babies later in their years, then they experience the same thing. It's like, oh my goodness, am I going to make it through?
I've heard after 30 pregnancies really it's a different situation than 20.
I thought you said after 30 pregnancies.
No, after,
I was
after
no, go girl.
We're really shooting for it. After you turn 30, I heard that it it's a lot rougher. That's kind of scares me.
I think part of mine too was that I was no longer a stay-at-home mom. I couldn't take the naps when I wanted to, and it was different.
That makes sense.
It's so doable. So doable. Go for it. It's not. No, because 7 years. No, just kidding.
Oh yeah, see, so this isn't even the best part. So after this huge shock, where you're just like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that after a big break, your age, all this stuff, and then you have a baby. And then, how long?
Yeah,
was it?
7 years later.
7 years.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I thought, what? I knew the 11. Kate, it was there. So couldn't I just, boom, boom, boom,
So, okay.
Instead of
after
waiting.
you had your 10th, then you were like, oh, maybe we'll just go.
No.
No.
See, I thought she was a bonus. I thought, yay, this is neat to, have a bonus. But that came out of nowhere. Like I didn't have any kind of, no premonitions, no nothing this time. Yeah, but this time, just so you have hope, I didn't do any exercising. But this is when I was introduced to ketogenic diet, so I was on keto for quite a while. 8 months off and on, enough to get about 30 pounds off. And I just thought it must be, you just got to kick your body into gear and do something out of its norm and get it off of that little path that feels like it's comfortable in, you got to get uncomfortable. And
so make yourself uncomfortable.
That's why I've been trying to make myself comfortable.
That's
this is not what I was hoping to hear.
More than anything, though, I think, and I was surprised too, because I didn't feel like that I was stress-free by any means. But later I just knew, this is why he came about, There was a lot of things that happened after that made me think, I wonder if he waited so that I could feel young again. What better way to feel young but to have a little guy around your house that's keeping you going.
And so how old were you when you had your last, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 48.
48.
Yeah, 48 and a half to be precise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
48.
So then that pregnancy, was that hard?
I don't remember it being
because we're saying pregnancy in 30.
Yeah.
Right?
48.
So pregnancy at 40.
It was, I thought it was really similar to my pregnancy with Briley. I don't remember it being so much harder, so much anything other than, here I am, just, this is so crazy. I let myself gain so much weight. And just, chill. Bonus number 2. And that's just kind of how we
go.
Yeah.
What? Sign up for the lottery or something at that point.
Yeah. I think it was really good though that I got the extra weight off and whatever, because that always feels good, and so then it kind of gave me the advantage a little bit. But it is hard on your body. You're tired, when you start, especially when your mind knows you're done, and then all of a sudden you're not, and if you
and getting back into so it's more of like the mindset rather than like
I think so.
the toll on the body.
For me,
Yeah.
I felt like it was, yeah.
That makes sense.
It's like, yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah. No kidding. So you say
Yeah.
you were a stay-at-home mom for the first 9 kids, right?
Yep.
Now, you raised kids on a farm.
I did. The best. The best.
That is fascinating to me because I mean I've never lived on a farm. I'm like city through and through. The convenience, all the everything else. So I'm curious, what was it like raising kids on a farm?
There is no better atmosphere.
Really?
No better, in my opinion. And I just felt like that compared, now that I've had 2 kids in the city, I crave it. I want to go back to the simple, obviously I wasn't working, so I was
Yeah.
staying at home, and that probably had a lot to do with it. But being on a farm, then there's just so much, there's space, and there's, the boundaries are less. There's not neighbors close by, and those kinds of things that you just, have to be more careful about and whatever. It was just
Yeah.
a whole different situation, but I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. And you say you didn't work, but then I mean it's a farm. So there's work.
Yeah.
On the farm,
Oh, seasonal
right?
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
I
we
remember
all
you
went
being
out.
pretty active though on the farm.
Yeah.
Yourself.
I've always been pretty active. Just I can't hold still.
So that's my question though, is because I would have pegged you as like city girl.
I would have too. No. I really was when I mean, born and raised here. 18
Yeah.
years I spent in the city and then moved up there, and it was an adjustment for absolute sure. And it took me a while, multiple trips coming to Salt Lake
Yeah.
to, be with family, around friends, people. It's like, oh, people, noise.
Crave it. I know.
I really did.
Yeah.
But by kid number 3,
Okay.
I just finally started feeling like, hey, the trips are getting a bit much. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
You can't just go land on somebody with 3
With
kids
3
or
kids.
more,
Yeah.
and feel good about that. At least not for very long and very
Yeah,
often.
that
So
makes sense.
kind of slowed it down a little bit then. And so I kind of little by little just became just really happy up there. And the kids just loved it. And
So what
they're always
about
talking
it?
about it.
Like what about
We want to know all about the farm life.
like what about
Are
farm
we
life
in the
for
wrong
kids?
environment?
I know.
Now that I'm not up there, obviously you have the nice, clean, fresh air. But where we lived, it just was so serene, and we had a nice landscape, and I loved running. I would just go. That was my bonus time. I spent running and thinking, and it's just so different than being in the city. And then the kids just, they had the neighbor kids, and they were close by enough that they could just walk over and, hang out with their friends and stuff during the day. And it was just a simple life. And I don't know how really to explain it, but just so serene. I miss
The
it.
quietness.
Yes.
Yeah. And like is it the not stress part?
Yeah, and I had time to do stuff. I had more bonus time, even if, staying home and you're going and doing and meals. And I cooked for several years. I cooked for a crew of guys that were up there to work, and just always had people in my home. And we loved that because it gave us the, I don't know.
Interactions with people.
It gave
and
us
so you
that.
weren't lonely.
But the kids didn't feel like they needed that. When they were little, they didn't need that. They just needed their friends next door, And they were really close, and they still talk about that was the best life. And their fondest memories are, we get to drive when we're 12.
Do they really?
They did. I know. I told my older kids that's at home now, I just, you don't even know. Here's what you missed out on.
Right.
Were your
But
kids homeschooled, or did they go
They were
to school?
homeschooled. And that
So
was
you
another,
added homeschool on top of that.
Yeah, but you got to realize that I didn't go to work every day, so that was kind of. So when my oldest was 4, I wanted to teach him preschool at home, and I knew that I would be a lot more diligent and consistent if I invited neighbors to come and all the preschool age kids. So I invited them all over, and so then I had them there for every morning, and then gave me that satisfaction of having a structured, something to do kind of like that. And then the rest of the day, I was just, kids were free to do whatever. And I just dug into my projects then. I had projects going all the time. It was it was a lot, but it was fun. It was nice to stay busy that way,
Yeah. Do you feel like, because when we were talking, when T and I were talking, then we were saying how different your kids being raised on a farm, working at young ages versus like our kids in the city, where our work is like
clean your room.
Yeah. So I'm like,
go do your job.
Right. So I'm like, what was that like? Do you feel like your kids got in and worked hard?
Yeah, and still they're very, very, they're go-getters.
Yeah.
And they learn to be responsible. And that is one thing that they treasure that. Now they realize that was a very valuable thing for them to learn how to work. They were involved in the seasonal work at age 12. Sometimes even younger. When we were out moving pipe out in the fields, then at 8 years old or 7, 8 years old, then they go out and help plug the pipes and, get up nice and early, and they felt neat and important. And that was it was good stuff,
I will say,
I think that it really, really did teach them to be responsible and learn how to work. They learned how to work well.
I remember being a kid going up to visit you guys often. Like we were up there a lot. Yeah. And I am a city kid. So I remember going up there and being like, like
it's so dirty.
It's so dirty. It's so gross. And
that would be a hard part for me.
Yeah. It was gross. And like everything. Because like kids, we didn't play in the house up there. You know what I mean? Like that was weird. If you stayed in the house and played, that would be weird. Yeah. So we spent all the day outside.
That's what they really miss about the farm. Yeah. It's like places to go, adventurous things to do out in the trees. And, they were outside all the time.
Even in the cold, like we just were outside. It was weird to just be in the house. And so I remember being out there, and I remember they had so many like rattlesnake stories. So,
rattlesnakes?
Yes. And so like I was terrified if I ever went into any field or any long grass or something that I was going to get got by a rattlesnake. And so,
that's probably my least favorite memory.
Our kids were just so chill with it.
It's like, there's a rattlesnake. Get out of the way. Move.
They're like, I know.
Call Dad.
I know. And not only that, but like they've had moose on their farm
every April.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about April.
Creatures, and they're just like, their kids are like, hey, it's life. Wow. And I'm sitting there like, a bug.
Yeah, little do you know, we were laughing at you.
I know.
It's like, oh wow. Come on, pansy girl. Just kidding.
But that's what I'm saying is like, do you feel like now being in the city, do you look at your kids, your city kids versus your farm kids and be like, oh, you wimp.
Grow up.
No, I'm just kidding. No, you don't think that about your kids.
Yeah. I can't decide if it's because I have like the last child syndrome in the last 3 kids.
Oh, right.
This is very different. And so I can't decide if that's what makes them all a little, I don't want to call them lazy, but lazy,
Because it's the last child.
And they really,
your last child, right?
Oh, he's the baby for life.
Oh, yeah.
He can do no wrong. He literally is an angel, perfect, sent from heaven. Perfection.
My little redhead.
Yeah.
Yep. He gets everything he wants. But the thing that's fun. I do wonder is like, do we need to, regroup and go back to a farm so that you can learn how to go play outside? Of course, things have changed too since then. Oh, okay. With technology and everybody's got to have those devices, and
that's true.
Unfortunately, that's kind of been a hindrance, I think, in the kids'. I don't know. The older kids, they like the technology and whatever, but they still favor the go out and get out and do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I feel like as a mom, I would be like, that would be worth it to give my kids that,
Yeah.
the desire even to want to just get up and go and work and do something. Not that I want them to be like constantly working, but it's
Right.
that like be anxiously engaged in something
They
active.
loved it.
you
And
know?
it didn't matter the age. They felt like big, neat stuff going to work and, you know, and it was just seasonal work. It's not like they put a ton of hours in and, you know, but
Right.
when it was time to go to work, they went to work and they loved that. They loved it. So
One of the things that you were saying is that Jordan Peterson, right? What did
Yeah.
you say?
Learn to do dangerous things carefully. And then we thought of you. Because the farm kids,
Now
they're
tell me
out
why.
doing dangerous, like they're out working with
Yeah.
the equipment and
Yeah.
obviously the animals and everything up there.
And the
So
equipment machines.
was that hard for you to like let go and be like
Absolutely.
trust it, have faith that they're going to be safe?
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you want to take your kids and put them in a bottle. We're
Yeah.
just going to set you right here.
And don't touch anything and don't.
Let's just, you know, let time go. But yeah, that is the hardest thing. And especially when you do have accidents.
Then you're
you know,
And that's
Yeah.
what I thought of when she said that, because I thought that there was an accident with your
a couple.
oldest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. He
I don't
was in a
remember what
couple.
exactly happened, but
So when he was 12, then he and cousins came and to visit and whatever, and they were on this little 80 size motorcycle. It was just a kid size motorcycle, and they had come up with this whole obstacle course, and they were racing each person. They were timing each other and whatever. And so then it was Joshua's turn, and he was on it, and the neighbors had were driving right through the potato in our yard with their potato trucks full. And he came around the corner right at the wrong time and collided with that full loaded truck.
oh my goodness.
I wasn't out there when it happened, and I still remember his younger brother came in the house and said, "Mom, Joshua was hit by a truck." And imagine, ugh, you know, the drain you feel, and it just made me sick, and I just ran out there, and one of the other kids was coming in just full of tears and crying, "It's bad, Mary, it's bad."
Oh my
And by the time I
goodness.
got out there, you imagine the worst, but I mean, he was moving. Okay, he's alive, and I'm pregnant with Audrey at the time,
Oh,
and
wow.
morning sickness like crazy. Oh, it went away, man. I had focus on something else, and then
Yeah, he didn't have time for that.
no, but yeah, so he had to be life flighted because his
Oh, my
head was
goodness.
hit. There was no major head injury. He was so lucky.
Wow.
In fact, when we looked at the accident scene, the truck had actually ran over the motorcycle. He was thrown from it when they collided, but luckily, because it threw him far enough away that he didn't get hit by the truck other than that first collision.
Initial
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah, so I mean, I told him later he didn't remember flying in the helicopter and stuff going over to get into the hospital. He thinks now, so what a waste. I've always wanted to
Ride
go
in a
in a helicopter, but not when I can't remember it. You know, so yeah, things like that. It just, you know, you can't.
Yeah.
But I've learned you just can't live your life in fear. You know,
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
But you try to.
You mean like with the
You
anxiety
make him
and
follow
everything
the
that it brings?
rules. So then sometimes it was because of those accidents that rules were developed.
Yeah.
You know, in our area, and you know, on the farm and stuff.
Wow.
It's tough, like you said. It's tough to just
Let him go.
Let them go, and have faith that they're going to be okay. I think I'd have a harder time now.
Doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Than I did then, because then, you know, the more it happens, the more you're kind of just used to it. But
Yeah.
then it gets to where you think about it now, it's like, no. I know, it's like he's old enough to get his permit. What? We're not doing this, are we? Are we doing this?
Oh my
I'll just drive
goodness.
everywhere with you.
Yeah.
That I don't
It's
know.
scary.
That's tough stuff. And I remember at the time hearing the story and being like, oh, like, is he okay?
Yeah, it was
what
scary.
happened and everything. And I can't even imagine being the mom
And
being like,
the worst thing that happened is it hit his jaw, cracked his jaw. I think it was just the hit on the ground. Cracked his jaw, and he lost a tooth out of it. And that's it.
That's
That's
a miracle.
it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really.
Oh
It was
my
just, it
goodness.
was crazy amazing. And I was so thankful that he was okay.
No kidding. Did you have any other like accidents or things like that happen?
Minor things like on the equipment and close calls like crazy. You know, like you said, with the rattlesnakes and stuff, and find out, oh, there was a rattlesnake right in our yard. One time Jill was sitting on the grass. It was on a Sunday. She was sitting on the grass, her hands just back, and she looks over, and within a foot of her was a coiled rattlesnake. Yeah, and there's many times like that we just know, okay, that was a close call. And so we did, you know, there were certain protocols. The kids knew that you know, you're wearing shoes outside for one, you know, and that was kind of tough for some of the kids. But
I remember you
know, you
guys
just-
made the rule that you had to wear shoes on bikes
yeah.
because of feet getting caught in
Yeah,
chains
and
things
you know,
like
on a
that.
farm they get dirt roads and hills and whatever. And one time when Grace came into the, you know, out of control on the bike and just ran into the house, like into the house, and she couldn't remember anything for a while. It was
I remember. I think she still
Yeah.
has a scar
yeah,
on her
yep,
from
lots of close calls. That
So how's that on doing dangerous things carefully?
So I feel like that's probably one of my hardest things as a mom is letting my kids go out and do things which they need to know how to be careful and have that responsibility. But that's a hard one for me.
it is really hard.
I really will just go with you.
I know. Yeah,
It is hard. It's hard to just be like to let go first of all, and then like just sit back and wait
yeah.
and hope.
And
that nothing happens.
if you want anything to really test your faith, that's it. You know.
It's way different, I think, because you're starting at such a younger age. For us, like for me, like the worst thing is like when they start driving. But we have like a year to drive with them first, and then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, you're good. But like up on a farm, if they're starting at such a young age out there, and even getting up and going to work with siblings and stuff, I feel like I would be like you'd just be praying all the time.
Yeah. They just hop on the back of somebody's motorcycle to go out to work. It's like, oh,
Be careful.
that's my kid on there. You know, be careful.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm sure it's like great memories. The kids already have
What was
it.
really hard is my second, Devin, he wanted to do the woodworking because I love doing woodworking. And so I was using power saws and tools all the time. And I learned how to be careful. And I had a couple close calls that helped me really watch it carefully. But that first time I was watching him, but it was tough stuff. I had to just, you know, then that's when you, 1 hour, man, we're spending an hour on safety
Yeah.
before I dare let you do this.
Yeah.
It probably builds up their capabilities and like talents so much more though. Our poor kids.
They don't ever
like-
get the opportunity to
They have good
try something.
handwriting. they can do their math. I don't know. Like what do we got? We're missing out on some.
Oh no, you got
Feels like
the
that.
sports going on.
That's
kids
true.
are-
Your
your
kids
kids
are
are
really
really good
into
at sports.
sports.
Yeah, we do sports.
Yeah.
Like
And that can be kind of scary too, you know. I mean, anything can.
we have chickens.
Yeah.
We got some chickens.
There,
We kept them all alive.
there's the responsibility opportunities right there.
We had a cow for a minute. That
Oh, really?
It
Let's
lasted
hear
like
about
2
that.
seconds. And we found out we had to milk the cow every morning.
Okay. So that wasn't your purpose in getting the cow,
We
right?
sent that one off to a dairy farm real quick. Like, that's not fitting in. We tried to incorporate some farm life into our little farm.
You have land though.
A little bit for
Yeah.
city land. It's good for city. Like we're on
Yeah.
2.5 acres.
Oh wow,
No.
that's my dream.
Well, we came from 0.1 acre.
Yeah, well,
With 10 kids, and now
go from the sky is the limit, and if I want a bigger yard, just mow more grass.
Yeah.
You know, there's my bigger yard. You know, I go from that to less than a quarter acre, and I'm just going crazy. 4 backyard
bet.
neighbors, and I'm, mommy.
You're like, you don't like it.
That part's hard, but I do love. You're right. The city life's good. I love people and
shopping,
Yeah,
food.
And the hustle and bustle.
Friends.
yeah, that's right.
I love it. I think I've lived like away out of town, not on a farm, but in a really, really small city or town. It wasn't even a city, it was a small town. And that was like,
Brutal.
It was hard. It was hard stuff.
I'm so far away.
I know, and I wasn't even an hour away. Well, sorry, maybe just over an hour.
Man, that's nothing. Yeah. We're talking 4.
I know. This is what I'm saying. So I'm like, I can't do it. That was way too hard.
And another fun thing about the farm too was homemade everything. You know, we didn't.
I liked going up to visit it.
Was a far away, and when you go, you load up that car, man, with your good stuff, and then you just don't go very often because who wants to do that? You know, that's the way I felt about it, and make
the trip to go grocery
Yeah,
shopping.
so
I already hate grocery shopping as it
I
is.
mean, we were.
I'm in the city.
The kids learned how to bake bread, and I even told Melissa before you get married. You have to prove that you can make bread because it's just kind of one of those requirements, you know.
See, I want that for my girls.
I know.
Brittany lives up north, so she's like the same, a little teeny town, but she's baking bread.
What I was thinking is why is it that you feel like you have to live on a farm to make bread? It took me a while to really. This is no kidding. My kids would say, "I miss our Idaho meals." We don't cook like we did when we were in Idaho, you know. And it's not like we're all processed cans and packages and whatever, but it's like, put on the main dish, we're good.
But you're right, though. I do remember going up there, and it was like a meal.
Smorgasbord.
Every single meal. And I just don't
really.
I can't keep up with that. Like,
we had, you got to remember, too, though, that we cooked for guys, and they paid for their meals. And so we kind of had to make it worth it for them. And so we kind of got in that habit of you always have the bread on the side and, you know, salad, side vegetable, everything, the works. So
every single meal.
But it took me a couple of years to think, I can make bread in Salt Lake. We still have an oven.
But is the need there? It's for me, it's like, it's got to force you.
That's exactly it. It's like,
it's the convenience.
The convenience of just going to grab.
Going to the store was a, what?
It was
an
a chore
hour to get there. I know.
Although it was also
30 minutes probably.
It was also our way out. Hey, somebody watch the kids.
town.
I'm out of here.
We need food. I volunteer. No problem.
Yeah.
Now into the deep stuff. Right. So, and you kind of started to say something about it with your last one, right? Your last baby. And you said there were some things that made you wonder if that's why
he came around.
He
so
waited
late,
so
late in life. Yeah.
Late. So tell more.
So when I was 7 months pregnant with him, then I found a lump in my left armpit, and I didn't really think a whole lot of it at the time. I wasn't super concerned, but I talked to Carol and asked her what she thought, because she was kind of the go-to, you know. She has a lot of knowledge with women's health, and so I asked her, what do you think this is? And she says, well, just put some hot compressions on it and stuff. It's probably just all hormonal, you know, being so late in the pregnancy. And sometimes when you're at that point in your pregnancy, you're developing your milk and, you know, things like that. So I thought it was just something like that.
Right.
Wasn't really concerned. So then when I had him up at the hospital, then I was at my 6-week checkup, and the last checkup, and they asked me what, if there's anything I wanted to, if I had any questions about anything, any other concerns. And I said, well, there is this lump. So I showed it to her. She measures it, you know, and that was my first, whoa, is this something more than something more than just a hormonal whatever? Because it wasn't going away. It was just getting a little more prominent. And so she just referred me over to the breast care center, and a week or so later, I get there, and 2 days later, I get a phone call from the doctor who had done the biopsy, and he just says, well, Mary, you have breast cancer. And I thought, nice to, you know, slam it to me there, dude. You know, that wasn't very cool to hear it that way. It just, you know, I just thought, nope, I have a 2-month-old baby.
Yeah.
And then I instantly just get off the phone. Of course, I cried and cried and cried, thinking, what in the world is next? You know, what am I going to do about this? Because this is nobody is raising my baby. Me, that's me. And he was, 2 months at the time. And so anyway, I talked to a few people and let them know. And so we came up with a real quick plan. And of course, Carol says, get off of all carbs, get off of all sugar, because sugar feeds cancer. And so I immediately changed my diet. And anyway, in talking with Carol later, she felt like, and I kind of was wondering it too, just like, why did the pregnancy, was it because of that I even had it checked out? And what would have happened had I not at that point? Because typically when it's in your lymph nodes, like it was in mine, you're at a stage 4 where they tell you go home and get your affairs in order. That's typically, and I didn't know all this before, thankfully.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, because really I don't know that I couldn't wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
There's no option here but to stay here and raise my baby. So
Yeah.
I got a couple of scans done and nothing would come out at all. Came out, what's the word for it? Inconclusive. I think that's what they said to me. They were all inconclusive tests because I had breast milk and they knew it had to have come from the breast, but anyway, we couldn't find the source for sure because of all the breast milk. And so they said, you're going to have to wean your baby and come back 6 to 8 weeks later. And so then what do you do? I'm not going to sit there and do nothing for 6 to 8 weeks until I can get another scan. I went through a lot of emotions. I tell you, it was.
And then being told you had to stop breastfeeding.
That was tough. You will have to know, and this might freak a lot of people out, but I generally would nurse my babies till they were about a year old. So yeah, that was a blow. That was hard to know that had to, old? 2 months old, and so many life changers, way too much. It's too much. But, so at the time then, because of that, and I don't know, he just kind of kept me going. But in that 6 to 8 weeks, I decided to go with an extreme diet change, in doing some research and getting advice from people that were more along the homeopathic route of trying to get rid of cancer and stuff. And I got lots and lots of advice and great advice here and there. Anyway, one thing about it though, in that time, I would never go back. It's a crazy thought, but I felt like that was my soul searching time, So it did me a lot of good spiritually, physically. Yeah. And anyway, so by the time that I did get a good scan to come through, they only could find it in the lymph nodes.
Wow.
And they're like, I have no idea why. And it was multiple doctors telling me different times. Wow. I don't know why this isn't spread throughout your body when and they never told me that it's a stage 4. They never staged it. And looking back at it now, I'm just really thankful that they didn't.
So the whole time they never staged you?
No, they couldn't because they couldn't find they couldn't get anything to give the legit report that says, here's where it started, here's where we're at, and you've had it for this long and it's all over, whatever. Because it wasn't anywhere but there and they thought that was very unique. But yeah, so I know what kept it away, kept it from spreading and stuff was the diet change and all those little things. And I did wonder at the time, I know that this is what I need to do, but what exactly is it doing for me? But in lots and lots of research, then I just learned that that's what keeps it from spreading. So I feel like that everything was just timed perfectly to, I just think, man, thank goodness for that little boy.
That pregnancy stops it from spreading?
No, not the pregnancy, but the diet change and eliminating carbs and sugars, because a lot of people probably don't know, but it feeds cancer. Wow. And that is what feeds cancer. So, so I went without that for a year and a half. Wow. So a long time. I was on a vegan diet.
Wow.
And I didn't even have fruits honestly, because it was
wow.
no natural sugars or anything. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But I think that's what kept me in the clear. So anyway, so I tried, just the diet, and then I wanted more than anything to not have to do chemotherapy. I was scared to death. I mean, the movies you watch and all the stories you hear, there's horror stories. So I just had decided that I'm going to do anything and everything but that. I had an oncologist that helped me through some things. And I had been advised to learn more about my cancer, my type of cancer, than even the doctors know. Because to you, they're just kind of another number. And I don't want to belittle any doctors or, and when I say that, it's the reality of it is you care more than they do. I mean, they care about their job and doing the best that they can. They do get satisfaction out of fixing people. But yeah, so I learned a lot about it. But then I had this other opportunity to try this enzyme therapy. So I tried that, and it was shrinking the tumor. We were measuring the tumor, and so we kept close tabs on where we were at. And I did the enzyme therapy. It was shrinking the tumor. So I thought, this is good. This is awesome. And prior to that, though, I saw 3 surgeons, I think, to get their opinions on, can I just get surgery and get it taken out? And they said no. Typically, we have to have you go through chemo and radiation to shrink the tumor to the size small enough to where it's not going to spread throughout your body if they take it out. Because I guess the chances are when they take something that big, it was like 4.5 centimeters in diameter. And I know that doesn't seem like very big, but it's pretty big.
Yeah.
So they were afraid to have that happen. And so then you got to get it shrunk down. So I tried this enzyme therapy. It took it down, and then it started to grow. And I knew then, okay, I've tried almost everything that I can think of and anything that was told to me and brought to me. But and then I just finally just made the arrangements to start chemotherapy and went through that.
How was that?
Not as bad as what the horror stories. It wasn't that bad, but again, in all this research and that diet change that I'd gone through, I also learned and I read so many books and so many things, but I read that if you are going through chemo, the day before you go to your treatment, if you fast, then you don't get sick the next day, because that's the biggest thing is that I guess you just normally get sick the day after. And so I did that just because I'm going to try this out.
Try something.
Yeah. And I really didn't get sick. I was tired, a little tired, but, that was supposed to be normal. But I didn't ever really get sick. And a lot of people just, whoa, I can't believe you're going through chemo and you're feeling this good and you're still acting normal and and whatever. But, yeah, it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then the interesting thing with that, though, too, I had 2 treatments left to go, and then the tumor started to grow again, started showing growth, and they said that's the only way that they would ever stop treatments once you get started, and it was like a 12-week process. And so I was at week 10, and the tumor started to grow, and so then we immediately just made arrangements to get surgery done right then. So December of 2020. It was the happiest day of my life. No, not really the happiest day, but at the time. They removed it, and the surgeon was an excellent surgeon. Wow. He even said it turned out so much better than I had anticipated. Wow. And I thought, thank you for not telling me what you had anticipated. Because I need to stay positive here, Everything's got to be happy, positive, because this is the only way. The only option, man, because this is not going to take me down. Yeah. So got it removed, and I didn't realize how heavy that weighs on you, that the possibility of
knowing something like that is in there,
those kind of changes and stuff. It just, didn't feel like that was for me. Yeah. So I got what I wanted. And so then after that, I did go through the radiation after that. So they just like you to go through the radiation just to make sure that any tiny little anythings that might be left behind get zapped away. So went through that, and then And then my hair started growing back. So that was kind of a fun one. Looking back at the pictures now, though, I'll have to give you a picture you can post if I dare. I just was told a lot of times, wow, you look so athletic. And I just thought, I'll take that.
I thought you looked good. I thought you
Being
rocked
bald.
Yeah, and then it came back curly and
Oh my
cute.
word! Yeah, you would not believe this is all natural. This is, yeah, I like it now. But when it first started coming back, and I had this short hair, it's like, oh, Grannyville, here we come. You know, it's like proud to be a grandma, but I don't want to be a granny yet. So that was different, and it came back gray too. They told me gray, curly, and thicker. I just thought I don't mind the gray. You can fix that without a problem. You know? And thick, yeah, I'll take it.
I was like, I would take the thickness.
No, thank you. But it's not bad.
So December of 2020, you got rid of it. And you're still
cancer-free so far. But they say you can't consider yourself cancer-free till 5 years.
5 years.
So it's been almost 2. This December, it will be 2 years. Okay. So
do you do something big every December now?
Well, I eat like crazy.
You're like, yay!
No, I don't, but I should.
You should.
Yeah, December 14th. I don't know.
Oh, you
Just
should.
Anything to do with this. I haven't even been doing justice to my journaling on it.
Yeah.
I just it's one of those things where I lived through it once. I don't want to remember all the bits and pieces, but I do need to. I need to.
Yeah. And I'm like, besides that, your kids.
I know.
Your grandkids and
if
everybody
there's
else, or
anything
even anybody else
can learn from it, then by all means. I mean, that's why you go through stuff, so that somebody else can learn from it.
Yeah. So I think it would be really cool if you'd like document it in
I mean,
full details
it's all
and
there.
everything.
The nice thing is like there were other women that I knew that had previously, barely getting to that 5-year mark, that had been diagnosed and gone through the different. One of them went through chemo. One of them just had to do radiation and whatever. But so I stayed close with them, and so one of them was texting me every day, "How are you feeling?" And I love that because there's my journal right there. And it's all time-stamped and everything. So
this day I was feeling this.
Yeah.
This day,
told her exactly how I was feeling and everything because, she was a great support. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I had so much. Oh, my word. That was another thing that, too, was just like overwhelmed me so much to have so many people supporting you and helping in every single way they could. And it was just, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It really did. It's the craziest thing, but if I hadn't gone through all of that, I don't think that I would be as, well-rounded, I'm old enough I can kind of brag about it. I've been there, done that kind of thing, But really, it's like the cherry on the top.
Yeah.
Just like I think that I really understand life now.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And what's really important and what's just little silly stuff.
Yeah, I feel like if for anybody who would be in a situation where they were facing what felt like, the end, you'd probably do a quick check on everything and be like, hey, what matters? What is more important? What's more valuable? What is meaningful? What
really doesn't
carry any meaning at all?
For so long, and that Christmas, that first Christmas, like kids will ask, what do you want? It's just like, give me you. I want you. I don't want stuff. I want you guys. And I just felt so sentimental about everything. It's like, I want my babies. I want my babies back. And I don't know. It was a life changer, but a good, for the good. I mean, it's easy to say because it's gone and, I'm hoping. So then the only thing that I fear now is in regard to the whole cancer journey is the possibility of getting lymphedema, which I had 16 lymph nodes removed. They had to remove that many to get rid of the entire area of tumor. And so the less you don't have a lymphatic system, a fully functioning lymphatic system. So it's hard for your body to release the toxins.
Oh, I see.
And so they told me, well, the best thing you could do to eliminate is to stay on a good diet and to keep your exercise up and whatever. So going to the gym every day.
Wow.
So
it did change your life.
Yeah.
Then.
Yep.
in every
It
way.
really did. It really did. And I try to, make healthier choices and stuff. And really, I don't know. We don't know what caused it. It could have been there for 10 years for all we know. you know,
Wow.
But
Was there anything in your pregnancy that felt a little off?
no, except for that. I mean, I was really, really
Besides
tired. Yeah. But all the time that the tumor was there, I didn't even feel pain. A lot of people feel pain with it. I did at one point after the enzyme therapy. When it started to grow, I could feel the growth, and it felt a little painful. But otherwise, it wasn't. But I would not have known to have anything checked out.
Wow.
Except for that this object, that lump was there and I don't know that I would have thought about. I don't know what made me think, I might as well have him look at it. It's probably nothing, but
Wow.
so yeah.
Wow. I love your story though. Every single time you tell it, I'm just like, it's obviously it's a happy, successful story because of the ending and everything, but I don't know. I remember even during you going through that, you always seemed still so happy and positive and
There was no option.
uplifting.
No other
and
option.
I'm like, if there was a way to handle something that sucked,
Yeah.
then right there,
I think it really, it was easy to stay positive because of that waiting time. That was the best thing of the whole event. That was that 6 to 8 week waiting period before I could get anything really going with it. It did feel frustrating to not be able to, okay, we got to know, we got to do, we got to whatever. And I couldn't do anything, you're kind of stuck with whatever. But I think that 6 to 8 weeks was just, that was like my moments, like that. The best part of it is because it really was the best way I could explain it. It's just a spiritual, soul searching, beautiful time. It just helped me want to be positive. It's like, you know what? My life is good. My life is so good. I'm still here. It doesn't matter, what life throws at you.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
all the little things.
attitude is everything. So yeah.
I hope that you guys got as much out of this as I feel like I got, because I feel like it just, I don't know, when you hear somebody's stories like this, it reminds you, it brings you back to like what truly matters, and it gives you the motivation to be like, well, I am going to get in and do a good job, or I am going to like make this successful as a mom, or just as a human being, just life in general. So thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was enjoyable.
It really was fun
to talk and to hang out.
A lot of fun.
Oh, that's scary, right?
Can't wait to hear from you on that whole pregnancy thing.
Yeah,
We'll see.
She'll be sure to tell Mary first thing.
Start exercising tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.